Metal Slug.
All right. Alrighty then, chat room. AoS Hot Takes, Part 3. Number 200 about. Maybe 190 or something after we took the duplicates out. Where were we?
Why are we still here?
Ahem. Ahem. Put on my bifocals here. As a game, Age of Sigmar isn't actually very good. It's long, has lots of downtime, can often be one-sided, especially with poorly matched skill levels, is quite punishing to mistakes, and isn't too well balanced. If you want to spend 2 hours playing a game with someone, I'm going to cut in here as an editor, editorializing this a little bit. If you want to spend 2 hours playing a game with someone, you have not quite finished a game of Age of Sigmar. You played, on average, I bet, maybe 7/10 of a game of the average game of AoS. I bet the average game of AoS worldwide is 3 hours, to be perfectly honest. But let's continue. If you want to spend 2 hours playing a game with someone, there are hundreds of board games that are more interactive, interesting, and emotionally satisfying. People don't play AoS for the rules. AoS and Warhammer games as a whole, here it comes. And Warhammer games as a whole are fun because of the people who play them. Warhammer is just an excuse to hang out with really cool people with shared interests. In fact, I'd argue that if the game was better, the rules were less complicated, and the game was more accessible, AoS would be less fun. People would start trying to win. Playing and going to events not to hang out, but to actually win, turning AoS tourneys from fun socials to something akin to Magic events. I can walk away from an AoS event having gone 0-5, but having made a dozen new friends. And the is the magic of the game. There's like a sort of gossamer coalescing fuzzy kind of point that the person is trying to make, and parts of it I can agree with. I don't know if this is too terribly hot of a take. I guess, let's see. I can pick some stuff up out of here and be like, this isn't quite a hot take. Like, people play Warhammer games almost despite how bad the rules are. True. Historically true. You know, probably historically universally true for all of time. People like wish the rules were good. Because of, well, you know, whatever. So, you know, that's fairly standard as far as complaints go, in which case it's kind of a cold take, right? I could, like, actually guy all of these. Is that fun? Yeah, actually it is. Let's do it. This is hyperbole content, all right? As a game, AoS isn't actually very good. Agree. If there weren't cool models that were amazing, and there wasn't cool lore and world building and all, it was just like the mechanics of the game, like if it was chess essentially, where there's no visual interest whatsoever, no like customizing, no my dudes, it was just like a pure game, no one would play Age of Sigmar. But then again, I'm gonna be real honest here, no one would play almost any game. Very few games are so mechanically astounding that it carries everything, right? Chess is one of those games. I think Magic the Gathering actually is one of those games. The rules are so good that it would survive having everything slurped out of it. Although it must be said that the art of Magic does a crazy amount of heavy lifting. So don't ever forget that, right? But, you know, regardless. Also, like every Euro board gamer ever, right? I think they try on purpose to make the game as unexciting as possible, because the game, like the target audience for Eurogame board gamers are essentially a bunch of amateur game designers who are the Mel psychographic profile type, the type who loves the concept of rules and how those rules interact to do things and create things. A person who really likes that idea, right? And that's just their demographic that they're targeting. There's nothing wrong with that. I happen not to like it that much because I don't really like board games that much. But that's a personal preference thing. I can look at a bunch of board games and be like, this is very elegantly designed, or this is kind of brilliant and stuff. Just as I can look at a piece of art and really appreciate the craftsmanship that went into it, but not really want to watch that movie again. Say, right? I can appreciate the pure skill and like oppressive talent of everything that went into There Will Be Blood. But I didn't enjoy watching the movie, and I wouldn't want to watch it again. But it was almost perfectly made, and the acting was insane. But I didn't enjoy myself when I was watching it. So, like, there is a difference, right? Anyway, it's long, true. Has lots of downtime, true. Can often be one-sided, especially with poor matched skill levels. This take here, you could apply this to virtually any game ever, right? Can often be one-sided, especially with poorly matched skill levels. I mean, yeah. Right? Like, every game ever. Every sport ever, even. I don't know if that's uniquely AoS's problem or not. And if you fix this, I think the game gets a lot worse. If poorly matched skill levels produce fairly even games, then how do your decisions matter? Why even get good? Why try? If the outcome is mostly random regardless of your choices, well then your choices don't really matter. And if your choices don't really matter, why are you playing the game? You know, watch a movie or something. Do something that's better with zero input in it, you know? Anyway. This other stuff is fine, though. It's quite punishing of mistakes. Some people like punishing mistakes, and some people like soft mistakes. That's personal preference. You know, some people like, would you like to continue? You've died to this boss 7 times. Do you want to lower the difficulty? Press X to win. Click your mouse button to see the next page of the VN that you're playing. As soon as your opponent frags you and does one sweep of the map, they are in control, and you will essentially lose the deathmatch, the 1v1. Right? Some people like that kind of thing, some people don't. You can also choose armies that are more or less punishing to your mistakes if you want, but, you know, whatever. And isn't too well balanced. It's pretty balanced. I guess. I think it's pointless to even argue about this point here. What does it mean to be balanced? Are you saying poorly balanced compared to a bunch of other games? I don't know. It's sort of like an empty statement. In what way? If you want to spend 2 hours playing a game with someone, there are hundreds of board games that are more interactive, interesting, and emotionally satisfying. Disagree, I don't like board games. Damn, it's almost like an opinion. I guess hot takes are an opinion. I just disagree with this person. If someone is like, hey, do you want to play a board game? My answer is no. So, for me anyway, the Age of Sigmar almost has nothing to do with it. Hey, do you want to play a board game? No. No, thank you. Please enjoy yourself. I'm not saying they're bad. My answer is just no. That's all. Hey, do you want to play Commander? Yes. I'm there. I am beaming myself up and teleporting there. You want to play AoS? Sure. If I'm not busy. Want to play a board game? No. Right. People don't play AoS for the rules. AoS, yeah, we already talked about that. We deal with the rules that we are given because we like all the other stuff. And we're constantly, because we're passionate about it, we try to push them to improve in whatever way we think is improvement. And some people are wrong about what they think is improvement, but they still, you know, they're trying. They're not game designers, they're just players, right? So yeah, do I wish the rules were better? Yes. Warhammer is just an excuse to hang out with really cool people with shared interests. Sounds like every game ever. It's not just, it's also, right? I don't know. It's a social game. But it's still a 1v1, you know, it's still adversarial. If you want to just hang out with cool people, you could play a cooperative game, you could play an adversarial game, you could play a video game, you could do whatever, right? It's not just that, it's also that. And for the rest of this whole thing, I mostly think that they keep making the mistake between just and also. In fact, I'd argue that if the game was better, the rules were less complicated, and the game was more accessible, AoS would be less fun. I don't understand what they mean by this. If the game was better, in whatever arbitrary definitions they want to put, if the game was better, it wouldn't be better. I think I disagree. No, I think better means better. What do they mean the game is more accessible? What does this mean? Are they talking about rules here? Like the rules aren't accessible? They're free. If the models were free, maybe? Are they talking about financially? Let's try to figure out what they mean by this. Because it's very easy to just be like, LOL, better doesn't mean better, right? That would be a cheap point. But what do they mean by this? The rules are less complicated. I don't know that the rules are complicated necessarily. Let's just say better. And the game was more accessible. I don't know what that means. That they have to be talking about financially here, right? Like the models are too expensive or something. It would be less fun if it was better. I don't know. Yeah, I can't parse out what they mean by this. They're spitballing very abstract hypothetical stuff that will never ever happen just for the argument. I mean, maybe, but it's fine to entertain that for a moment at least, right? Cowards can't block warriors, Frank on the rocks. Do you mean Bold Weir Intimidator from Future Sight? With that cool card frame, big red skin, white bearded art. God damn, what a Chad. I wish there was anything I could play that guy in, but I just can't. Submitter thinks people do not go to tournaments to win. Yeah, Submitter is wrong. Getting a little toxic casual vibes from it, to be perfectly honest. Financial and time commitment is your guess? Okay. I still don't know. Yeah, and to me, better is better. And if it ended up actually worse somehow, then it wouldn't be better. But I could see making that argument somehow and not having it be ridiculous. Maybe you just don't want something to be legitimate. you like it when it's kind of scuffed. Here, I'll give you an example. I played Overwatch when Overwatch came out in the year of our Lord, I don't fucking know, 2014 or something. Overwatch came out, I played it. I was really enjoying myself the first few weeks. But the better I got, the less fun I was having. Because the better I got, the more I cared. And the more I had to play with certain players and form a team and do all this. And the way you had to play the game when you were good was no longer any fun at all. I liked how the game was when everyone was bad. But when you got good, the way you played the game was entirely different, and it sucked all the fun out of it. It was in fact not fun. And the only fun that there still was like the inherent fun of just winning. Like in a vacuum. The fun of outplaying someone. The fun of seeing W on the screen. The fun of shooting them before they shoot you, right? Those like disassociated, just sort of general fun feelings. But what you were doing, like the game itself, was kind of no longer fun. And I think that's maybe what they could be talking about, something like that. Where as long as everyone is bad and no one cares, it's fun. But as soon as the game gets better and the rules become tighter and people start getting competitive with it, suddenly it won't be fun anymore. If that's not what they meant, then I don't know what they meant. But I tried to say it in maybe a better way. People would start trying to win, playing and going to events not to hang out, but to actually win. Wrong. I gotta tell you, I don't know. This must be an anecdotal experience. We go to tournaments to hang out and to try to win games. Because that's the game. Like, the game is you versus someone with a win condition. Like, it has a win con at the end, right? So, just like up here, where they said just, but I say also, Warhammer isn't just an excuse to hang out. It is also an excuse to hang out. And then down here, you try to win, and also you hang out. It doesn't take like a crazy amount of maturity to just do both, I think. The thing that would turn AoS tournaments from fun socials into magic events, the thing that would do that is essentially two things. One, money at the top. Money at the top would do that. And two, so many things having to change about AoS. You can't do magic events. You can't do that. You would have to change too much about it. You can't play one game around. You have to do best of 3. The game can't be 2 hours or 3. It has to be like 20 minutes or something per game. You have to play 10 rounds of Swiss, and then when you're at X and 2 or better, you go into day 2, and then another 8 rounds, and then cut to top 8 or something like that. You'd have to get rid of sports score. You'd have to get rid of paint score. You'd have to get rid of all of that stuff. It would have to be a lot more like poker, where bluffing is big, and there's a big difference between hidden information and public information. You would have to rewrite all the rules completely so that it worked like a computer program, like Magic. The general feeling of both players against each other would have to be one of, in general, not much communication by default, instead of tons of it. This can't happen. Too much would have to be different. I don't want Magic events as Age of Sigmar events either. So I guess me and this person fear the end, the worst outcome, the same. But I lived in that place, and it was awesome. I just don't want it for this game. But the easiest thing you can do to never have this happen, even the first step to this, the first step on this road, is putting money at the top. If you never do that, you're safe, actually. Anyway, I can walk away from an AoS event having gone 0-5, but having made a dozen new friends, which you could do if the game had better rules. You could still do that. That's just a maturity thing and who you happen to meet and how friendly your opponents are. You can be trying to win and still make friends. I've done it. It's possible. Top tables can be intense, yeah. But they're still sporting, right? Most people are just kind of choosing stuff and they want to play 5 games and talk to people. I don't think you have to choose one or the other. You can. This is a why not both situation. Anyway, I could actually guide basically all this, but some of it is agreeable and the stuff that is cold. But yeah, I don't want this either. And I don't appreciate you telling me what I think is fun isn't actually fun or is wrong. But maybe I do that too. Good hot take. Brevity is the soul of wit. Next. Oh, I haven't even read this yet. This one's better. The 3-year cycle combined with 6-month, 12-month GHB will strangle the game long term. I don't know if it will strangle the game long term, but it sucks. So, cold take, agree, moving on. I don't know if it's going to strangle the game, but it sucks. True. Throw KO and Croak under a bus and call it a day. Croak is the best looking model in Seraphon. And KO is... How do I put this? This person is talking about mechanics. They're not talking about look, right? I don't know, man. In general, I always lose to KO. They got me. Croak, I don't play against it much. I'm kind of good against it. It seems like KO have a balance problem always, forever, because inherently what they're doing thematically is overpowered. And then if the numbers fall in a certain way, they're just amazing. I don't know. I think they can do it. I think you're capable of writing rules. Anyway, good meme. I just lost to Croak and KO. Yeah, but you know. Hey, I lose to KO all the time. I think KO is cool. Soulblight really needs to take it easy on the named characters. Yes, but also consider that like 10 of them come from Curse City. Out of nowhere. And may or may not be continued moving forward. I don't know what's going to happen with that. Are they just going to keep selling them forever? Man, I don't know. It's kind of weird. You know? Faction looks huge based on how many war scrolls, but like a third are named characters. Love to do narrative player, at least an army is specifically mine, but there's only 3 hero archetypes and their mounts and mutations. Yeah. They did just receive Sakhar, though. Yeah, there's way too many named characters in Soulblight. I agree. But that's kind of like because of Curse City and some other stuff. So I don't know what they're gonna do with that. It's weird. I'll give you an it's weird. It's weird. I don't want more. I don't know what they're gonna do with it. Are they gonna keep selling them? Yeah, you're right. The non-vampire characters are not in cities, which you'd think they would be as a corollary. Don't know what to do. Don't know what they're gonna do about it. It's weird. Some of Radukar court stuff should either lose the Virkos keyword or become generics, like the zombie ogres. And maybe the Bloodborne and Vargskir. Even more than them watch Captain Halgrim should be renamed to like Death Rattle Marshal or White Prince or something. If you want to keep interactions with Radukar himself, just give his profile and ability. Interacts with Virkos aligned versions. This person wants generic versions of unique heroes, which I always like. And also more like, damn, this Cursed City, there's like a million of this stuff. It's weird. What are we going to do with it? Fair questions, I think. Well, I understand re-releasing the entire faction is completely impractical. Stormcast should universally have Stormstrike armor. It's so much better. True, if this was a video game, you would just download a patch or something, right? Yeah, I think it'd be cool if they did have Stormstrike universally, I guess. But to me, I can't get past the fact that Stormcast have 100 fucking War Scrolls. You just can't give them anything. The game hasn't been around too terribly long, and they have a staggeringly large number of models to choose from. Way too many. When there's armies like KO, Fire Slayers, Idnet Deepkin, you can't. How are you going to do this? This is crazy. Please fucking stop. Please stop. Please. Please. How many foot heroes do we need? How many new? Like, it's too much. It's too big. Please, God. Stop. I beg you. After one or two more, like, huge fucking releases for Stormcast, there's going to be so many that people are going to start talking about splitting it into two armies. Or maybe do a Space Marine thing with them. And that's the worst idea ever. If you want to poison Age of Sigmar almost irrevocably, then you would be like, what if Stormcast was 6 armies with different color schemes, just like 40k? No. We came to Age of Sigmar to escape from that shit. Build a wall. Build a wall and have 40k pay for it. Keep that shit out. Also, keep Unleash Hell out. 40k ass fanfiction rule. Anyway, please stop. I beg you. Yeah, first wave Stormcast doesn't look so cool. A third of my army is Finecast. Fuck off. Chill. If Stormcast gets no new models for the next 10 years, they will still have by far the most models in their lines. Then basically every single army in the game, except for maybe Soulblight and Skaven or something. Chill. Your cup overfloweth. I feel strongly about this. And I'm sad because I know that they'll just do the thing that's the worst. The Grand Alliances are thematically appropriate, but I feel they limit factions somewhat in terms of narrative interaction and lore. It is almost unheard in lore for factions to have relations or diplomacy of any kind if they don't share a Grand Alliance. The only examples I can think of are Orlinder, Be'lakor, Gruboi Hobgrots, Chaos Dwarden, and the mercenaries and stuff, you know. Ogres often work for anybody, Fire Slayers have worked for anybody, even Chaos, you know, so on and so forth. Some Idnet Deepkin maybe even. I don't know if this is too big of a deal. If instead of being called Grand Alliances, what if they were just called countries? And it's a story about 4 countries. Is that so terrifically different? I don't know. Restriction breeds creativity, blah, blah, blah. I think it's fine. So I guess hot take. Oh yeah, KO as well, Mr. Birdie, on top of Fire Slayers and Ogres. I personally like Skaven better now than in Fantasy, but Realm Stones kind of took a lot away from Skaven compared to Fantasy. Everybody wanted Warpstone in the old days for their magic, so Skaven were always a threat to come and raid somebody who had it. Now nobody uses Warpstone, because they use one of the many other less dangerous Realm Stones, or even Super Warpstone, Varanite, Shade Glass. While Skaven seem brain dead collecting this inferior nuke rock nobody else wants. That's part of the charm. I don't think that's even a problem. They're just really good at harnessing it. That's cool. It's their special stone. That's okay. I think their god wants it too. The kind of, honestly, Fire Slayers copied the homework a little bit of Skaven, didn't they? Their god wants Urgold. They'll do anything to get it. It has power in it. It's kind of dangerous. Other people kind of want it too sometimes. I don't know. A little bit. Maybe a little bit. Lore knower. Ooh, he's a knower. Skaven want it because big horny rat. They do be putting it in the eye sockets, though. I think this is largely... it's fine. It's fine. Good hot take. Drops are a lame and needlessly restrictive way to limit who determines who goes first. It arbitrarily limits which factions can apply, and often factions are not well balanced to incorporate such differences. Lowest point army is a much simpler and more interesting option, as people who desperately want to double turn will have to make much more dangerous list decisions, and leads to a more dynamic list building concept than trying to cram an army into a battle regiment. This person is half entirely right. Half the time, they're 100% right. Let's go through it. Drops are a lame and needlessly restrictive way to limit who determines who goes first. True. It arbitrarily limits which factions can apply and often blah, 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 blah. Yes. Agree. I mean, any choice you would make as a game designer would probably be described as arbitrary by people that are mad, but, you know, still, in general, sure. Lowest point army is a much simpler and more interesting option is no. No. Danger. Humongously disagree. No, 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 no. Absolutely not. You already have the mechanism to do this. You don't need to have people play chicken with how much money they don't give you by playing 200 points down or however the fuck much. By tying whether or not you go first to how many points you don't spend, you have snuck in, under cover of night, a points cost for the Battle Regiment Battalion. We've already moved away from battalions costing points. What they cost is an opportunity. By playing down in points, you're essentially asking the players to invent whatever point cost they think is fair for this Battle Regiment. I disagree with this. What you have to do, you already have a system for this. You get to choose battalions. They're free, so what do they cost? They cost opportunity. You didn't choose something else. Right now, why wouldn't you take a battle regiment? Because you essentially can't fit into it. All the other ones are trash. Well, so the problem is the battle regiment is just better than all the other ones. The way you balance it is by making all the other ones competitively, competitive with battle regiment. In the manner that people play the game in real life and respect. That's how you do that. You make the other ones an actual choice, an actual decision, a skill testing environment. That's how you do it. And they already have the mechanism for it. You don't have to move over here and start having it cost points, or you play down in points, which is basically the same thing as costing points to me, except it's variable. Yeah, there's a metagame there, just as there is a metagame with drops, and it's kind of nice to have a metagame, but hugely disagree. But the first half, you're right. I just think the solution to that exact problem, they already have the scaffolding built for the solution to this problem. They just have to finish the building. They only built 1/5 of the building. Anyway, it's an interesting thought for how to do it, but I would choose a lot of things before that. But it is a problem, obviously, and it does need to be solved, obviously. So we agree on that, at least. I want endless spells to be more of a big deal when they show up on the board. Some of them have utility, like the bridge and the mirror, that can be impactful enough on its own. But if I see a giant flaming skull or the purple sun coming at me, I want to feel fear. I generally don't give a shit about something that's going to do D3 mortal wounds to me. I don't think it's necessary or deserving for an effect like that to be represented by a model at all. Yeah, I think, to me, there are two distinct categories of endless spells. There's the category of endless spell, and I'm talking about throughout all of Age of Sigmar, not necessarily just now, you know? There's the type of endless spell that basically could have just been a normal spell. It does mortal wounds, but they could have just wrote a paragraph, and it's like an aura that stays on some unit and just does them a D3 every turn until they dispel it somehow. It essentially kind of boring, not a lot of thought put into it. It's basically just like an enchantment or a curse, but they gave it a model for whatever reason. And some of them are good, and some of them are bad, and most of them are bad, or whatever. And they all cost points, and normal spells don't cost points, and that's why most of them aren't good. And then there's a second category of endless spell. And these endless spells actually do something. But once you actually do something as an endless spell, every word in this sentence is capitalized, the list that you're building and the strategy of your whole army contorts in a giant orrery circle around this thing. Suddenly it's part of your main strategy. Like Spell Portal. In the old days, Balewind Vortex. Possibly even Bringy Dingy. The Bridge. These are things that, like, if they were banned, you would play a different list. Like, that army list is gone, because it only works because its main central strategy is, like, around doing that. Do you want more of that? Which I think is an open question, and it's up to personal preference. It's like asking, it's like the designer just has to answer that question based on their vision, because there's really no right answer. How much better should mortal wounds be than rend? How much armor is too much armor? How long of a game exactly is too long of a game? How many guys on the table is too many or too few? Like, a lot of these questions, it's just going to be like, well, my vision for the game was this, and that's that, right? And other people are going to have different opinions, and there you go. In general, I think the idea of endless spells costing points, for me, they were mostly dead on arrival, based on purely that. Except for ones that were so powerful that you could warp the whole strategy of an army around them. Because I don't want to pay points for something that I can essentially fail to even do, I guess. I don't know. Like, I try to summon an endless spell, it's countered. And then next turn, I don't try to summon it because I have to do something else, and then my wizard dies. What did I get for 70 points in that game? Like, less than nothing, even, because I tried to summon it one time. I could have done something else, right? But that's the opinion of a player, me, who's in an army, ogres, that suck at casting spells. So I bet my opinion would be different if I was in Tzeentch in 2nd edition or whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, Spell Portal, easy. You just use a fate die. And now we do this, right? I guess I don't know. Yeah, endless spells were a real cool idea, but I think maybe the follow-through on them was a little weird. It's hard to make so many of them, like, good everywhere, and so few armies are really good at magic. That's the thing. To me, it's like if you're making a game where every army is like Lumineth and Nagash and Slaves to Darkness, Cabal, if that's like, if the game is called Magic the AoSing and every game you have like a Giga Wizard and everyone's about equal at casting spells, then Endless Spells feel like a really neat introduction to the game. And by that I mean to introduce them to the game, not an introduction to the game. But in the game where most people are casting spells, either flat or +1 maybe. And I mean like the majority of all armies. Like, do you want to pay 80 points for that? Probably not. I don't know. Anyway, Endless Spells were a cool idea, but maybe for a game where more of the armies were more magical, or every army was, or I don't know. Good. I don't know if this is even a hot take, but it's a good conversation starter, so I appreciate it. It's a fun game with cool models that I enjoy playing. No, you don't understand. Okay. You don't understand. You are wrong. Look at this. Look at this fucking idiot who likes the game, likes the models, and it's fun to play. You are wrong. No, the fat conductor laughed. You are wrong. Imagine liking the game. Honestly, a hot take if you're on Twitter, but alright. It may seem like people complain all the time, but they're trying to improve the game they love, and it's from passion, right? Did I just catch you having fun? You are only allowed 3 funs per week, okay? Casual players want more random because then anyone can win. Competitive players don't want more random because then anyone can win. Yes. Competitive players want their choices to matter because they are trying to prove their skill. And they're trying to get better. They're trying to get better. They have an improvement-focused attitude. They're trying to win the game. And this is why, like, the archetypal competitive player is fine with losing, as long as their opponent was better than them, because that's what should happen, and they actually respect that deeply, as like a law of nature or something like that. This guy was better than me, I lost, he deserved to win because he was better. What am I gonna do? Fucking practice. Someday I will be better than him, and then I will deserve to win, and then I will, right? Casual players, essentially, I don't know if they like randomness. I don't think they do like randomness. It's just what they ask for inevitably causes it or something. I don't know. They want to win half the time while not putting in the effort required to win half the time. The casual player has an inherent contradiction in their entire worldview, and that is, I want to do well without putting forth any of the effort required to do well on purpose. And so that's kind of like a problem. And so then, you know, you have to add randomness to it. Look, I got 17 kids, 3 wives, 12 jobs. I can only play 1 second a month. Let me win half the games by flipping a coin. I paid for my entry fee as well. Why can't you just make the game worse? Anyway, good meme. Mortal wounds are a crutch for rules designers. I think they are good to have in the game, but a lot of the time they just go, fuck it, give a mortal wound ability. Yeah. I'm a known maker funner of people who complain about mortal wounds. But, nah, you right. Fuck it, just give it a mortal wound ability. It is a crutch for rules writers, a little bit. Don't disagree. It kind of reminds me of Mega Damage that everyone made fun of when Zimbedia came up with it. But that's a story for another time. We should wait longer for 4th edition. Sure, hey, if I have to wait an extra year for 4th edition, but it's great, instead of largely copy-pasted and alright, fuck it, dude. I'll take a year off. You kidding me? I'll play some more in 3rd edition. I just want it to be good. It's like I said with the Ogre Battle Tome. The Ogre Battle Tome was taking a long time to come out back in the day, and I'm like, I'll wait. Take your time. As long as you don't just copy-paste almost everything. I'll wait an extra 6 months. I have infinite patience. I just want it to be good. I know that as a company, all you ever hear is a million voices rising up telling you to release it as soon as possible. And they don't care. Just ASAP. Now. Whether it's done or not. And then you release it and it's not done and they're like, what the fuck? So you kind of can't win, right? But I am one of those people. I'll wait. Just make it good. I look forward to the 4th edition Ogre Battle Tome. Hopefully they got somebody really passionate about ogres. Some of the books and the quality of the books and the power level of the books kind of fluctuates, but sometimes you can tell that someone was passionate about the faction when they were writing the rules for it. And sometimes you can tell that they were very much not passionate about a faction when they're writing the rules for it. It's actually very obvious. Looking forward to the 4th edition one. Next. Destruction needs more natural elements. Oh, elemental army destruction enjoyer. Frank? Give me evil, true, wild Sylvaneth, where it's elementals and druids who want to tear down the civilizations. Civilizations that mine the quarries, cut the forests, dirty the water and air. You have to keep incarnates. Don't. True. First of all, true. I just want to point this out. In the midst of some of this true that's happening, there's a big true in the middle. If you have to keep incarnates, don't. Please. Please, no. Anyway, make them part of this faction. Honestly, it feels like most destruction at the moment doesn't have an identity because I like to fight, and that's boring because all the factions fight. That's the point. Okay. I don't think I want an elemental army. Unless you come at me with some, like, fucking Lorwyn hot shit, right? Like, some good shit. In general, I don't think I want an elemental army. I don't think evil Sylvaneth is a strong enough theme or a unique enough theme to carry through. Sylvaneth is already pretty angry, you know? Sylvaneth is very upset. They are mad. They are war, right? It's fine. I get what you mean. What they mean is like natural element stuff, not the chaos warriors of Sylvaneth, right? It's this person, I'm assuming, doesn't mean you have Stormcast and then you have bad Stormcast, and that's chaos warriors, right? They don't mean you have good Sylvaneth and then just like black, so dark Sylvaneth. That I assume they mean, you know, kind of like the cursed fungal, radioactive, evil nature, you know, Princess Mononoke stuff with the black tar everywhere and things like that. So my problem with all of this is that the main themes you can think of are already in destruction. They're spread out. Fungal, gross, alien kind of nature, spore, fog, Gloomspite Gitz has a lot of that. The swampy, poisonous, rules of nature kind of, Cruel Boys have a lot of that. Right? The survival of the fittest, like calorie counting, domestication, using nature against as a weapon, and not only surviving but like bending it to your will, storms and weather and stuff. Beastclaw does that, You have all of the like nebulous themes that would go into a like skull face with antlers on it, kind of dripping black poisonous, has a mushroom growing out of their neck, kind of like dark Sylvaneth. There's like 4 concepts there, and if you pull all those 4 concepts apart, they land in destruction armies we already have. That's my issue with it, I think. Sorry for picking apart your idea, I didn't mean to. But for the most part, it would be cool if the next destruction faction isn't just a 5th type of orc or another type of ogre or another, dudes that like to fight and that's kind of it. So I think I half agree with this person. Ahem. Next. Primal Magic Dice is a cool and fun system that should be made core rules. We finally got to a hot take. It's just a hot take, that's what it is. I disagree. Everyone in the world disagrees, but that's what it means to be a hot take. We finally got one. See, somebody read the assignment. Good hot take. Completely disagree. People moan about their army without being willing to put the time in to get good with it. Yeah. But look, they got, like I said, they got 3 wives, 12 jobs, 76 children. They can only play for 1 picosecond every decade. It's easier to complain than get good. If you don't have an improvement-focused attitude, the way to change is to essentially socially bully people into lowering themselves to your level and babying you with kid gloves like they're your caretaker, or just getting shit nerfed by complaining to the company. I don't know. This is a truism in all games everywhere for everything. Also, it's easier to complain about politics, but not like vote. Not care about local politics, which are way more impactful to your life. Damn, why isn't the president doing anything about police when they're under the purview of the mayor and the local government? Look, it's easier to complain than do anything like something that could make a difference. This is true everywhere, about everything. Good meme. We all bowed out of disgust. The game is too complex to really play it without dedicating hours a week to playing. I disagree. I think you could be very good at Age of Sigmar playing it once every 2 weeks or 3. Now that's a little bit because the average water level is so low, but I don't know. I think you're fine. If you play once every 2 or 3 weeks, you, with an improvement-focused attitude, you're better than 99%. If we're making up numbers anyway, you're better than 90%. TTS is free real estate. You don't even have to drive anywhere, or go anywhere, or buy anything. The thing is, though, you play against people that are also trying to win, because that's fun. I don't know. Ooh, what could I have done on that turn? Ooh, this is a puzzle to solve. Isn't that fun? I don't know. Kind of depends on who you're playing against, what you're trying to do. a lot of the complexity of the game is planning. It happens before the game. Any really good players in the chat, you guys can maybe tell me if I'm off base, because I'm not trying to be really good at this game. I was trying to be really good at Magic when that was my, like, when I was a Magic grinder. But AoS is my retirement game. So I'm not actively trying to be, like, really good at this game. And I'm manually trying not to. So, as far as Age of Sigmar goes, if you build your army with battle tactics in mind, look at all the battle plans, and plan your deployment for those battle plans, and against not against armies, but against archetypes, right? Like, this is how I deploy against Alpha. This is how I deploy against whatever. And then, on what turn and how will I generally accomplish these battle tactics? So this is all just like, you got a notebook, you're watching Columbo on the television, and you're just like, okay, this is what I'm going to do against this. I'm planning this. All of that. If you do that, your decisions during game are mostly easy and don't require too much nutso big brain strategy. You will win entire tournaments essentially only doing that, like planning ahead thoroughly with the stuff I just said, and then playing the game once every 3 weeks maybe on TTS. When you're 4-0 in the final tables, somebody might outplay you with a clever thing during the game, but for the most part, your decisions during the game are minor and not terribly important. All of that pre-game planning was way more important, I think. Because when you're piloting this army and you have a plan, you're just kind of going through the motions at that point. What is your army supposed to do? All right, I'll do those things. I don't think it's like as insurmountable as people think, maybe. If anybody's like really good, any team captains for Worlds in chat, tell me if I'm wrong, but the decisions you make before the game in the planning stage are in general way more important than ones that happen during the game. And the ones that happen during the game you can mostly autopilot and be fine in all but the undefeated finals of any tournament you ever enter, basically, I think. Maybe I'm painting with too wide a brush or something like that, but... Anyway. Good meme. GW rules writing isn't that bad. It's not as good as it could be, but it's perfectly serviceable for the game they are trying to make. I think it is that bad. I think it is that bad. But I guess that depends on what you mean by that bad, right? Are we Bill Clinton over here? It depends on what he means by it, right? Depends on what you mean the definition of is. My problem here is that I don't play any other war games because I'm not interested in any other war games. All right? So within the purview of Games Workshop's peers, I don't have a good frame of reference. Because I don't know what any other war games do. I've played a million tabletop role-playing games, RPGs. I've played a bunch of board games, even though I don't like them. A lot of board games, actually. I played a lot of Magic the Gathering, a lot of card games, a lot of card deck construction games, a lot of video games, a lot of competitive game, all this stuff, right? I have like no war game experience. Somebody be honest with me. how bad is Games Workshop's rules compared to exclusively other war games? Not Magic, not chess, not Euro board games. I'm talking war game. And I guess it would have to be not Rank and Flank, because Rank and Flank is too different, probably. Serviceable gray slob made from Sprugu. Worse than he used to be. GW write rules that they hope will be played, rules as intended instead of rules as written. That's a terrible idea. Like B tier, but that's because of how little competition it has. Okay. I hear from Warm Horde's people that GW is way worse. The market caught up hard and GW is asleep at the wheel. Okay. So, how would you say, because for me, where I'm thinking of like, man, Euro board games and stuff, Magic the Gathering, whatever, is GW rules writing that bad compared to that stuff? Yeah. Is it that bad compared to, like, tabletop RPGs, though? Maybe. Those are so different that it's hard to compare them. Because tabletop RPGs have a lot of rules as intended in them. They're written very casually, but they also purposefully give you tons of freedom because it's a cooperative game. It's a cooperative storytelling experience, really. You're not supposed to play against each other. That's not how it works. And so the rules can be very like, hey, get creative with it. Yeah, do this, do that. Here's a DMG, let me tell you. You can roll for this, you can make it up, you can write new rules. But that's because all of those things are entirely harmless because it is a cooperative narrative, like, story thing. In a war game, you have two people playing against each other. Against, right? And there's victory conditions, and you can't do that. You can't write tabletop RPG rules tone with a game that is adversarial. I don't think. Well, you can. GW has. But we made fun of them for it for 30 years. All of us Magic players brutally made fun of Games Workshop rules when in 2000 and 2005 and 2010 and 1998, we would just look over from our throne on top of Magic and be like, open up a Warhammer Fantasy book at the store while waiting for coffee, and we would laugh. It was a joke. Like, this is what you're paying. People are paying for this, you know. I don't know, man. I guess I don't know enough to say whether it isn't that bad or not. Hey, 2005 Warhammer Fantasy Battle rules were peak. That, yeah, isn't that interesting? That may be true. Peak comedy. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably being unfair here, because they're not trying to be Magic. They're not trying to be chess or Euro board games. They're trying to be really tongue-in-cheek, and they don't want to have serious anything. But it seems like most of the people who play their game want that, or want something like it. The rules are certainly not good enough for money tournaments, yeah. Their rules are barely passable for prize tournaments, but certainly not for money tournaments. Look, all we can do is praise them when they get better and criticize them when they make a mistake. When they do something bad, you get the red pen. When you do something good, you get the green pen. And you tell them to do the green pen stuff in the future. I don't know. Yeah, we essentially have to treat them like a child. But don't underestimate the number of players who act like them as well. There's way too much, hey, remember Glub Shitto from the old thing? Well, guess what? He's back in action, baby. Even though it makes no sense, please come give us another chance, Old World fans. We gave you your favorite Blorbo, whoever the fuck, as if that would ever convince them. Let's move on and have new Blorbos, for God's sake. True. I don't know who this is, but this person's fucking correct. This person is writing in my voice. They're trying to butter me up. You are right, yes. Glub Shitto, remember him from Fantasy? No, I don't. I don't care. It's actually unfortunate that they brought back enough crap from Fantasy that sucks before they decided to make Old World. I wish they would have decided to make Old World sooner, so we would have less trash from Fantasy that sucks in AoS. As it stands, they waited just long enough so that we have a bunch of crap that we have to deal with forever now from the old dead game that I didn't like. And then now we have Old World. It's like, okay, so what are you going to do now? This person was just writing to me with my own opinion, so great work, cold take, literally true. Frank on the Rocks, thanks for the Prime for 36 months. Preach. You know how to spell Glup Shitto? Yeah, it is Glup with a P. Did a non-Heywoah fan write this? Seems inflammatory for this community. This is your argument against adding Chaos Dwarves? Same, yeah. Hey, here's some army that used to exist a million years ago in Fantasy. Damn, dude, that sounds like a great idea to put in Old World. Age of Sigmar, I'm looking for something more interesting than that. It's just that simple. Is that Pluton Vitor? Damn. I'm okay with some of it. They did it too much, and now we have Old World anyway. So it's like, damn, you could have had AoS be way cooler. But instead, you went halvesies just long enough to kind of poison it, and now we're split again with Old World. And so, yeah, it's unfortunate timing. That's a rough one, kid. The only faction that should have terrain is Sylvaneth and maybe Nurgle. Quit dragging your pizza ovens and bone thrones to every fight. It's weird. I don't think this is a hot take. You're right. Well, it should be more than just Sylvaneth and Nurgle. But yeah, maybe half the armies. If you asked me, the Ogre player, if I wanted a terrain piece in first edition, my answer, well, actually, this is not a hypothetical. I was asked when I was a content creator in first edition. They're like, dude, what kind of terrain feature do you want for Beastclaw Raiders? And they were like really excited about it. Like, what would you want for BCR as a terrain feature? And I'm like, I don't want a terrain feature. Doesn't make sense for us. We're always traveling. We never settle down. We can't like keep anything with us. And I don't want some ice sculpture or something. I don't want a terrain feature. Don't want it. No thanks. Poetically, ogres as a whole have gotten 2 terrain features. The first army ever to get 2 terrain features. And both of them are explicitly for Gutbusters and not for BCR. So in a sense, we never did get one, I guess. Alright. What are your thoughts on GW not shipping store orders for a non-disclosed period of time? Is it made to order? If it's made to order, then they gotta build it before they can send it out. Made to order is good because it means that everyone is guaranteed to get the thing. But it's bad because it means it takes so long to make it, package it up, ship it all out, months and months and months and months. So you can essentially do it one of two ways. You can have it be a limited or made to order, right? And limited means some people don't get it and scalpers win, and made to order means everyone gets it, but everyone has to wait. A ghost ship for soggy zombies. Look at you now, you have two at the same time. Yeah, and at the same time, I kind of have none. Look, the Maw Pot, it gives me +1 to cast Mystic Shield on turn 1. And it lets me heal D3 maybe, sometimes, but usually not. And then the Sarlacc Pit just damages me, because only Gutbusters are immune to it. Sick, dude, sick. Not made to order, stores will not be getting any orders they place. What do you mean? Spiky Bits wrote a piece about it, but it was taken down. Your LGS told you the same. I don't mean to... Jeez, this is... How do I put this? I don't mean to insult anyone, but if I hear about something on Spiky Bits, it tells me nothing about the veracity of that statement. I don't know if it's true or not. In other words, I do not trust Spiky Bits as a source of information. Doesn't mean it's not true. It just means it doesn't change like whether I think it's right or not. But stores will not be getting any orders they place. Do you mean ever? Like my local game store, if they want Age of Sigmar 4th edition books, they won't be getting them ever? Or what is this a short-term thing? Is this an inventory issue? I would have to really look into all of this to be able to comment on it in any meaningful way, I'm afraid. So, yeah, in general, if I don't know if something is true or even what it is and nothing about it, there's not much I can say. Unless I wanted to be the clickbait type of content creator, and I don't have the stamina for that. Why doesn't GW simply not sell to scalpers? It's hard to determine who's a scalper based on zero information you have from them, right? But also, I think, I don't know. I heard they were... No, this is also another unsubstantiated. I'm not sure. They've been trying to do something about scalpers. I'm not sure what they were doing. Canceling some orders or limiting it to 1 per person or something like that. Why would they not sell off all of their stock instantly, though? I don't know why they wouldn't, yeah. Why not just sell everything? CAPTCHA to limit bots. Three LGSs near me and 1 online that you buy from. They have been contacted by their rep saying that they are pausing on retailer restocks. The reps are not taking orders currently. Oh, okay. Seems like a inventory issue. I don't know anything about business, but if they're pausing orders, must mean they're out of ice cream, and they got to make more ice cream before they can send it out. I don't know. That's what I would guess. Oh yeah, there was that pirate shit in the Suez Canal or whatever. No, not the Suez Canal. There was that pirate shit. What was it? The Houthis, I think? The pirates? Global shipping was impacted because of that. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Jeez, I don't know. Literal Houthis? The horrors straight. Starborn players don't need a nerf, but they should be required to use chess clocks. Alright. I mean, play your games in a reasonable amount of time is part of sportsmanship, so however you can manage that, work on it. You know, attempted hot take, I suppose. You think the conflict between Sentinel and Daggerfall is causing some delays in shipping? Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. I think if you're going to play an army, you should practice it and try to not waste your opponent's time in ways, you know. There's a limit to how much you can do or, you know, whatever, but I think it's just kind of part of sportsmanship, trying not to waste too much time if you can. Strive. Almost every AoS monster has the same weird snub-nosed face design and they all look dumb as a result. I mean, obviously not, but I know the snub-nosed face, and they're right about that. They don't all look like that. But that face is dumb, and they use it too much. So, maybe a little hyperbolic almost every, but yeah, the Kragnos face, the Draco leans, the fucking goofy Magister and Hammerhall, a lot of the faces often ruin monsters. Yeah, the faces are the weakest part usually. Maybe that's the umbrella we'll use. Is that almost always you have a really cool looking monster and then you get to the face and you drop the ball more than you should. More often than you should. The crazy dragons in Stormcast, the weird pug Dracoliths in Stormcast, Kragnos' face, the Toralian monster, the Stardrakes, Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon, Terrorgeists, yeah. A lot of monsters in Age of Sigmar look completely badass, and then you get to their face, and it, like, ruins everything. They gotta work on their face game. Essentially agree. Not a hot take. Good work. To be fair, a lot of old Stormcast now look like butt. They did back then, too. But now we have even yet better stuff to compare it to, so it does look worse than it did, but... There are not enough dinosaurs in Seraphon. You know what? I think I disagree. Not enough sea creatures in Ideneth. Kind of agree. And not enough waifus in Sons of Behemoth. True. Holy shit. This one got more true the longer it went. Except the Maw Crusher. Maw Crusher has a great face. Yeah, that's an exception. Maw Crusher's face is good. I like it. That's a good one. That's an exception. Daughters of Behemoth Wen, true. One of the most fun games I ever played used the AoS 1.0 rules for army composition, where we kept deploying units from our cases until we were done. 5-turn nail biter with a sudden death condition. Alright, it sounds like we have now documented at least testimony that at least one person in the entire planet has played open play once. I've heard about it, but we now have direct testimony at least. We'll see about getting them under oath. Good work. Player skill is overemphasized. About what? The top players are basically those willing to win the arms and production race before shit gets nerfed. Copium, I think. Copium detected. Although, as an olive branch for this person's hot take that I call copium, and I do, if the hot take was inverse, as in, buying stuff and buying the powerful stuff is overemphasized, the top players are basically just the best ones, I would call that a little bit copium as well. too much generalization here, and a little bit of copium, but good hot take. Some of them also cheat a lot, at least in 40k. I can't speak to the number and frequency of cheating, really. I don't go to enough events. I don't know the deets. You know, you hear about it, I guess, but yeah, I don't know. If you consider playing wrong cheating, then cheating happens. There's never been a game of Age of Sigmar that hasn't had cheating in it. But if you consider cheating like the magic way, where you have to break the rules intentionally with the intent of gaining an advantage, then the number drops a lot lower, because most of the wrong play is pure accidents. Good competitive players play armies with powerful rules and push win rates of these armies high. After these armies get small nerfs, the good players that had already been playing them for some time find the small nerfs as an excuse to move on. The army win rate falls much more than the nerf would explain because the less competitive players are left to steer those armies. Yes, but you have to consider that this is one group choosing to do one thing, affecting the outcome in one way. That's true, amid a whole bunch of other groups that are all doing other things to affect the outcome as well, right? So yes, this happens, but a whole lot of other stuff is also happening as well, and some contrary to this. Whether this is a hot take or not, I'm not sure. But my response is this does happen, but it's unclear how big of a deal it is in the face of all the other stuff that's happening. Some contrary, some sidelined. This reads like a conspiracy theory, doesn't it? Although this does happen, right? But I'm not saying that to downplay it. I'm saying it as a funny little aside. This is one of the things about, like, the low number of players. Like, a few or even like a bundle of the best players in the world can really largely affect the stats of stuff in outsized ways, whether intentionally or not. The 4 aspects of the hobby are playing, painting, modeling, and complaining about the game. No. No, the 4 aspects of the hobby are complaining about the game, consuming content about the game, talking about how you should model or paint, and 4 is buying stuff. Playing apparently doesn't much factor into it in the grand scheme of things. And this is true for 40k as well. Good meme though. Good hot take. You didn't lose because of the double turn, you lost because you played too aggressively and neglected a mechanic of the game. True. Cold take. Just true. Sometimes you lost because you were playing a matchup that is supposed to beat you. Like, you're just, hey, some people, you got bad matchups. Sometimes you lost because your only chance was to play towards the double and you didn't get it. Alright. That's true as well. So it's not like there's an olive branch. Yeah, a central mechanic of the game is priority, and if you ignore it, I guess do so at your detriment. Sometimes it gets you. Play again. This is kind of like I lost that game of Magic to mana screw. I drew 2 lands, and I didn't draw another land the rest of the game. This is bullshit. The game should be changed so that there's no such thing as mana, and you just have... You can cast stuff for 1 on turn 1 and stuff for 2 on turn 2, and there's just no mana anymore. It's like, okay, well... Hearthstone fucking sucks, though. You get rid of a lot of deck building and concepts and ideas and balance around resources, and ooh, here's the concept of ramp, and how are you going to build your mana base to support these colors. You get rid of all that, but it's true no one will get land screwed anymore. But what do you give up? I think you give up more than what is worth it, and you homogenize a lot of the game. Also, just play Hearthstone if you like that. Look, if you never want to be land screwed ever, then don't play Magic. There are plenty of other card games. A lot of those card games have more generic resource, or not generic, but just kind of infallible resource systems, or everyone gets the same, or ways not to get screwed, you know. Just do that. There are other games for you then. If you don't want to play with priority, then you can choose any other war game in the world. But Age of Sigmar is this one. And if it means that fewer people start playing AoS because they're scared of priority or they don't like it, fine. You know what? Fine. I don't want the game changed that much, I guess. I'll take the trade. Especially because if they got rid of priority, you know they would just copy and paste whatever the fuck 40k does, and yeah, no thanks. You never get mono floated with Belcher. True, yeah. You can be in like some minute awkward situations where you actually have the one Tega in the whole deck, and you can't Once Upon a Time. Or you can't, Damn, what was that card for 2? The green card for 2? You can play it for free and search for a forest and put it in your hand if you haven't cast a spell this turn or something like that. What was it called? It's been a while since I've seen Belcher. Land Grant, that's it. What is it? If you have no lands in hand, you can reveal your hand and play it for free, I think is how it worked. So, okay, that's a little awkward. In that case, you are kind of land screwed, or land flooded, we'll say. Just because you don't have lands doesn't mean you won't draw on curve. Yeah, there's that too. You can always have everything for 7 in your opening hand, and just... Even if the mana costs are even pretty close, you can always draw the wrong cards in the wrong order. You draw the answer after they already get their benefit for it, and you have the thing in your hand that they never play the counter to. You can always get screwed. In some cases, you should not charge. True, yeah. In some cases, I don't. Even I don't charge sometimes. In the ABC army, you know. True. Maybe it's a hot take to some people. It's just true. Match play is the worst way to play AoS. Narrative is way more fun and encourages a better atmosphere. I hear this a lot. And I don't mean to be insulting, but I don't believe you. I hear this a lot on the internet. I see this a lot on Twitter, in comments. And despite that, maybe a little arrogantly, I'm just like, this person is lying. That's it. That's the only possibility. No, they're not. No one plays narrative. They just don't. I disbelieve the illusion. I'm rolling a will save right now against the illusion that people play narrative all the fucking time. I think they play matched play. And it's not actually narrative. They call it narrative, but what they're doing is what basically everyone else is doing anyway. I don't know. I need a narrative player to come in here and be like, I play a narrative all the time, and then I will be like, no, you don't. And then they'll be like, that's rude. And I'll be like, it's for the memes. It's kind of a content thing. I don't, don't worry about it. And then I'm going to ask, what exactly do they do in their games of Age of Sigmar that make it narrative? And when have you last played? And I'm going to 20 questions them, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. I've been to a narrative tournament or two. You know, they do exist, but that was a while ago. And aside from Steve Herner, I don't know what. JW should bring back Rhinox Cav back. This is the hottest take. This is the hottest take. Rhinox look terrible. They look stupid. Derp ass, gross, ugly, dumb models. They look fucking stupid. It's a stupid type of creature. It basically looks like you take a Mornfang and you ask AI art to give you a Mornfang, and that's what a Rhinox looks like. Except it's been dropped on its head when it was a child, and it's part of a 30-year generational inbreeding cycle. Rhinoxes are trash. They look stupid. They're from the old game. Get them out. Replace them with Mornfang. Get their keyword out. Get it out. Worst opinion ever. Holy shit. At least I can take comfort in the fact that it's not a real opinion, because no one could actually hold this, and so they're just doing it to troll. And you got me. It's a good meme. Which faction had Rhinox? Ogre Kingdoms. The Age of Sigmar double turn rule keeps the people I want out of the Age of Sigmar community. I hope it never goes away, and it's totally fine if AoS isn't your game because of it. Yeah. I think this is probably a hot take because of how condescending it can sound. I've essentially said this very thing before. So I'm going to accuse them of telling me what I want to hear, but it's still a hot take. If you posted it on Twitter, people would be mad or respond to it or something. Good work. Is this gatekeeping? Yes, but gatekeeping is not bad. It is necessary. Gatekeeping gets a bad reputation because of all that Nazi stuff. But gatekeeping is good and necessary. It's great. It's just a tool. It can be used for good. It can be used for evil. Just like atom bombs, AK-47s, poison, lightning balls, agonizers, scorcher spells, anything like that. It's just a tool. Yeah, necromancy. White man says gatekeeping is good. Yeah. Imagine a white man being right. So rare, right? KR Knight. So rare. Cringe reason like a good role. Yeah, I mean Bard from Eternity, if it's just purely a meme, obviously. But yeah, that would be a poor reason to like a rule, obviously. But yeah. Yeah, necromancy is just efficient. It's recycling. All the microbes and bugs do it anyway. Why don't we get some value from it? Stormcast Eternals should have more recursion than Death factions do. Disagree. But it would be neat if they had like recursion. It would make sense at least. Their whole thing is being reforged. So if they had a mechanic in the game that reforges them, it would not be exactly out of pocket. From a lore perspective, right? More recursion than death? Don't talk to me or my son ever again. But having some sort of reforge mechanic, it would make perfect sense. More than death, though? Nice hot take. Yeah, the thing that pushes back against that is that reforging is not fast. It takes a while. So that's a good reason not to have it in the game. Necromancy. Let's go. Everybody up. Hey, all right. Back in business. So that would be a reason against, but at least there's the kernel of the idea there, at least. $2d6 charge for everything is bad. Ooh, I agree. 3d6 charge, way better. From ogres. Yeah, I agree. 2d6 charge for everything is bad. That's why I play Kragnos. 3d6, no less. Damn, he's right. Anyway, yeah, this is weird. Actually, from a rules and mechanics and game design standpoint, this is a little awkward sometimes. I don't think this is a hot take at all. And I don't know, it's weird. I'm not going to get into it too much because I haven't thought about the ins and outs of it. But it has struck me as strange that you have a 4-inch move guy and a 18-inch move guy, and they both charge the same. You have some units in the game could move farther than they could charge on a maximum roll. And then you have, like, some Slaves to Darkness or, you know, Gotrek-ass character who moves 4. And they can move 3 times their speed on a high charge roll. Just fucking teleporting. How? You know, like Jason. It is a little weird. Yeah. I don't know that it's a problem. Maybe it's a problem. Tell me what the problem with this is. Why is it bad? I think it's maybe a little weird. I don't know why it's bad, but I sense that maybe there is something kind of weird about it. But you're going to have to show me a problem before I listen to solutions, I guess, you know? Hot take, make charge move plus d6. That's kind of guaranteeing every charge, though. I mean, I guess I would. I'm the charge army, so I guess I'm fine with just guaranteeing all of my charges forever. That they probably want it to be failable in the game. That means that every deep striking unit with a movement of 8 or higher has a 100% charge success rate after their deep strike. They would have to change that rule, right? And that's like the first thing that's the first thing that came to my head is like every teleport, deep strike, and ambush. Almost all of them are now 100% success rate charges after that. And it seems like they really want those to be less than a 50-50, so... Anyway. That's just the first thing they would have to probably change. I understand tying it in with movement somehow. That kind of makes sense. I understand maybe 3d6 drop the lowest, or blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Do you want charges to be more passable? Do you want them to happen more often? Less often? What's the problem, I guess? Forbid charge from deep strike. Yeah, I think you would probably just do that. When you're typing, you can't move after a deep strike, well then you would just also type you can't move or charge after a deep strike, and then that probably solves it, right? But now a strategy is turned off. It used to be that in certain types of armies, if you got a certain amount of consistency in this buff and that buff, you could charge after a deep strike and succeed. And now that's impossible with this rule change. Maybe that's fine. Maybe you want that. Maybe charging after a deep strike is downright problematic because of alpha strike and blah, blah, blah. I'd listen to that. But, you know. Hard to kite big honkers if they get their charge off. Just can be tough for skirmishing. I think kiting is... I don't want to say kiting is dead, because I'm not submitting the hot takes. But kiting used to be a valid strategy a lot of the time in earlier editions of Age of Sigmar, and in this edition, it's not. It's toothless. It's lost all of its teeth. And the reason is, in previous versions of the game, you had to stay on an objective to capture it, and if you left, you lost it. And now you keep it. And that one fact really hurts kiting, I think. It's not dead, but... if there are such strict targeting rules for shooting, 170 for Iron Blasters is totally fine. Yeah, I agree. They increased the points of Iron Blasters, and then instantly changed the rules of the game to make Iron Blasters perfectly balanced at the points level they used to be at. They got essentially double blasted. I agree. Having more than one artillery piece locks you out of one drop anyway. True. So artillery is a meme. Also fixed lead belchers. They literally lost a random melee for no reason. Yeah, you know what? Ogre Book needs a lot of help. It's more of a 4th edition thing. Thoughts and prayers. Good luck. Godspeed. I'm pulling for you. Hopefully we get one of those passionate about ogres people that have played the army before. Variable damage or attacks aren't inherently bad. They just need to be overvalued or cranked random. For example, 36 attacks or d6 mortals. Yeah, there's a level to which variable stuff is fine. What spell is everyone complaining about this season? Merciless Blizzard. That's random. That's a random damage characteristic, right? That's 4d6. But 4d6 is enough that it's just amazing. You don't complain about the Beast Pounder. What's his name? The Beast Blaster? Big brown Beast Blaster boy, right? 5d6 damage characteristic. You will not find a complaint from me. That's grown man damage, okay? So you're right. They're not inherently bad. It's just d6 attacks is trash. d6 damage is sad. d3 is a little... you're shrugging. Yeah, agree. Take is too cold. Rolled 20 mortals the other week. High movement units don't need any more buffs. True. High movement is some of the best stuff you can ever be doing, always. So there is that as well. Give plus the battle round that charges after round 1. Mork's Mighty Mushroom that goes 6d6. Yeah. I think random attacks characteristic is probably the worst offender. I don't know if there's anything that has a random attacks characteristic that's good or fun in the entire game. You can have random damage that is, but I don't think there's anything with random attacks that's fun. I'm trying to think. Crushing Hooves are d6 attacks for Stonehorn. That shit sucks. I hate... every time I do that, I'm like, Games Workshop hates me, personally. Because they didn't change this. It was also, like... I open up the new Battle Tome, and Crushing Hooves is still d6 attacks. I'm like, alright, nobody plays this army. Vortex Beast gets 36 attacks. How about have everyone have DX attacks instead of just one unit? What do you mean? I need more information. I don't understand what you said. Don't tell that to Skaven players. Is there a Skaven unit with some amount of attacks that you can overcharge that ends up being fun? In which case I'll have to amend my statement. If we can find something with a random number of attacks that's fun, I will have to say, instead of none, I will have to say 1. Like every unit in the game would have d6 attacks. I don't like it. Anyway, good meme. Rattling gun overcharges is 4d6 plus 3 for a 60-point unit. Okay. There we go. There is one unit in the game, maybe, that's fun with random number of attacks. And that number is 4d6. So we're into the example territory anyhow, I think. If battle tactics are going to stay around, please, no, please, just give it up, give up. It doesn't need, it's not like it needed more time in the oven. It doesn't need more iteration. It was a mistake. All of it. All of it. They'll just iterate on it. I'm sad. You should have to commit to the 5 tactics you're taking at the beginning. That doesn't sound fun. But it's not fun now either, so I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. Figure it out. Hey, how about make it fun? All right. Hey, great last hot take. Good work. Have any more hot takes? Find the pin in the Discord for our next edition. All right. Make battle tactics D6 victory points. How about that? Isn't that fun? Then you can win regardless of your choices you make. Just do that. Damn, my opponent keeps rolling 6s for victory points. Damn, I should have played better. Anyway, good work. I appreciate all the people who submitted. There's only one more thing to do, maybe, and that's go over the Twitter ones, which were very spicy, even though they weren't anonymous. Because it's Twitter. But we'll do that next time. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. TY for watching. We talked about the Monday tournament bracket 1v1 salty bets, Sajam. Alrighty then, chat room. Will it kill? Right. That'll be fun. Did all these hot takes. Could walk through the forest. Thanks for hanging out on this Friday evening. It might be the case that we will have a return of Waifu Weekend. Waifu Weekend might be returning. A grand reopening. Because Persona 3 Reloaded just got, I think it came out yesterday, last night, something like that. And damn, isn't that nostalgic? Remember Persona 4, Persona 5? Get your blankie, get your hot chalky, curl up, assemble some models, fix everybody's problems, high school hijinks, demon killing, maybe shooting ourselves in the head in Persona 3 to get your powers, boss killing, date going on, virtual going outside, and great music all around. Maybe we'll do it, just a wholesome night. I'll think about it.
Time to get fired up! I hope you realize the power of meat now.
I hope you realize the power of meat now. CGL Busta, thanks for the $70. I appreciate it. Huge. That just so happens to be the cost of Persona 3 Reloaded, and I was just complaining about how expensive it was and wondering if I should buy it. Well, you know what? I'm not buying it. I'm pocketing the money. I'm buying coffee from the come and go fucking gas station, and I'm drinking it for 4 days. Got him. Anyway, see you guys tomorrow for Persona 3, paid for by CJ Yo Busta. I'm gonna raid somebody, be nice to them. So stick around for like 1 minute if you give a shit. Anyway, see you guys tomorrow, right? Good stream, good chat. Thanks for the subs and the bits and the primes.